Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 4 of Kokai, our modded Cities 2 build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. And in today's episode, I'd like to return to the bulk of the main town after we spent last week building up our farm area. To create what is essentially going to be our first little town centre, I'd like to bring in some buses today as well. So first of all, let's get started with a little bit of road hierarchy expansion. So we currently have this 4-lane road that is going to come along the coast here. Now the terrain's a little bit wild, so I think we'll do some terrain prep. Well, let's just see if we can push ourselves through here without making things look too unnatural. We're at the same height over here. Something like that I reckon should be good. So let's just bring this road straight through. And then we'll do something a little bit later on down here. Now, the land really starts to become quite mountainous over this side of the map, doesn't it? So I'm not entirely sure what lies down here yet. If you have any ideas of what you'd like to see kind of away from the initial starting town of Sully, do let me know what you think would be good over this way. There's lots of possibilities, lots more shoreline, but we will eventually head down there. And then with this road over here, I'd also like to have this one just connect back into this collector that's going back to the highway over here. And maybe a little roundabout here. We actually do need to spend a development point unlocking the next roundabout nodes, don't we? So let's do that while we're here. We'll grab roundabouts for a single development point. And we can use one of the fancy new ones. Should we go for... Whilst this is an entrance into the town, I think it does deserve to be a little bit more grandiose, doesn't it? Is that one alright? I think maybe with the trees is a little bit better, isn't it? Unfortunately, that bug with the lighting is still present on the roundabouts. Hopefully that's not too far away from being fixed. We'll also just make sure that we are centered out of here too. Fabulous. So that should give another way for people to get in and out of the city here. And I think I'm happy with that. The lighting bug only appears from certain directions, doesn't it? But anyway. Nice roundabout back up to our jug handle interchange with what last episode. And now we have this big space to work with. So we have some buildings here as well. Let's get rid of these because you are just not part of my design anymore. Fantastic. So let's create a bit of a town centre, right? So I want this to be a big collection of service assets, schools, police stations, possibly another doctor's. We are veering on the edge of needing one. So let's start out with that school first. So I reckon we'll have this right on this street corner, and of course we're going to use one of the new ones. So we will have this come out from here. We'll leave 4 tiles between the main arterial through town and this school. And then let's come into our school. So we'll probably need another elementary as well, actually. So maybe we can have a look at a school fusing here. Might be quite fun. Let's place down, first of all, our new high school, which is such a fantastic asset, isn't it? Very fancy too. It's got a pond out the back, goodness me. And we've still got quite a lot of wiggle room in the budget here as well. So we can add the extension wing, which is an extra £3 a month. Now I wonder if we could separate this away from the main building. Something you tend to see a lot, especially in like UK schools, and I know in Australia as well from my time building Thessia, is that you kind of get lots of separate buildings rather than it just being one continual kind of complex, if you like. So I wouldn't mind having like little orbital sites around the area like this, and of course we can continue to do this as we need the capacity as well. And we don't have the upgrade because we don't have large sports parts unlocked. So is that something we want to get as well? We do need to spend a few more development points to get there. I would also like to explore telecoms today as well. So let's prioritize parks because that's the best. We're not massively far away from more development points either. Cool, so this will give us the high school sports park, which is going to give us outdoor recreation. It's not that expensive upkeep either. And could I have it... Guess we can just turn off all snapping options. How about there? How do we feel about that? Now it does want pedestrian access there. So how about we give a little pedestrian access point here? Let's snap to the side of a building. And we'll come on with Anarchy as well. Now that does make you happy. And it also extends those textures as well, but of course they're going to be a little bit janky, so we'll actually just manually amend them ourselves. I don't think I mind the tile extending over the texture there. I think I'll also complement that with a little bit of live oakage as well, just as a bit of a tree line. We'll turn off snap to surface of objects as well, of course. So I think there's a little bit of a school campus, we can really get on board with that. And of course those textures certainly want to extend something like that. And then I reckon we can just extend that pathway all the way through here. And we'll probably bring it back down the side of the car park. Break that pedestrian crossing, which is actually quite handy. And then let's bring that back down to the arterial as well. So it's a bit of a high school campus, I can definitely get on board with that. Bit more of this to be done during our detailing as well, of course. So how does that satisfy our needs? That gives us plenty of high school, of course, which is expandable with its extension wings now as well. However, we are also in need of an elementary school too. So I wouldn't mind having the elementary school as kind of part of the same campus. So let's bring this road down a little bit. Might even actually connect that back into the arterial maybe. I think we will. And then with this school, let's go for the small elementary again. We'll just have it somewhere like there, and I reckon we'll probably be bringing this up on an alleyway road on a 90-degree angle. And then let's have our school snapping to the road. How about there? And you do have a gymnasium extension, which is really rather nice actually, isn't it? That looks like it would fit in. I mean, what's this actually giving us? I want to make sure we don't just destroy our budget today. It is still quite fine in Economy 2.0. And let's do +1 well-being. Not too bad an idea, is it? How about that there? Can we manipulate these individually with move it? We cannot. That's okay though. Well, I think next to the sports field, I think that's going to be alright, isn't it? Really helps blend it in actually. And then we can see where we'd probably want that walking pathway to extend through here again too. To something to that extent maybe. And maybe some more trees just along the back here as well. And then with the extension wing, can we squeeze that? Yeah, no, but we could put them across the street if we need them. But I don't think we will do right now. Yeah, it brings us slightly back into the green on both elementary and high school. And we can get a pretty nifty little school campus out of that, can't we? I think we'll leave that like that. Let's come back into our roads over here now. And I'd like to start bringing up some more connections to head toward the main road. Now we have that in, let's also get some car parking in for the school as well, which we do not have the parking lots unlocked, so let's have a look at those. Parking area is 2 points, that leaves us with 5, which is okay. Now we should be able to get some of these in, so I reckon I want to use some of these canopy covered parking lots. I really do like these. I think they're pretty fancy. And then I reckon, I mean, how deep are they? They're 2 tiles, so we could possibly back them up onto each other in a design not too dissimilar for this, which seriously reminds me of Phoenix. Seeing all these covered parking lots from our time building ILOs, of course. But I think it's pretty appropriate for some school parking there, isn't it? So I reckon we'll go with that. Happy with that. Love piecing together school campuses, and with these new assets now, they're so much more just manageable and appropriately sized, aren't they, compared to what they used to be? And I reckon we'll have some tree and grass lining on that main road through the school as well, just to kind of indicate this is a little bit more special perhaps. Maybe some grass lining on the frontage here too, as it kind of passes by the water. Don't hate that at all, and that's going to serve as a really nice centerpiece. And what I'm not a massive fan of here is how just kind of low dense the neighborhood is over here. It's a lot of residential, isn't it? So I think I might switch out some houses for just a bit of commercial, just so there's some like amenities within the neighborhood rather than just being never-ending residential. But that, we also see we've got a little bit of crime knocking about in the city too. How's our budget doing for services and police? 100%. And our police station over here is 4 of 6, but it does have a lot of arrested criminals, so maybe we could do with a larger police station as part of our town centre here, which we can more than factor in. Cool, so let's turn our attention to that town centre then. So initially I know, just kind of envisioning how I want this to look. I definitely want to play with the marina vibe, so let's set that up first. So let's have a look at our terrain, because we're definitely going to do some terraforming here. So we've got a couple of contour lines between where we're building and where the water is. So I'd love to explore bringing down some... We'll basically have the marina on this level, and then have it slightly raise up. So it's almost like you're walking down the quays to get to the marina, if that makes sense. I think it's easier to show what I'm talking about there. Cool. So, for example, let's have our pathway. So we're going to use the pavement path to map out our marina, and then we'll use the upgrade tools to change this. So that's where our change is. So we'll have our marina start here, and we'll basically just have it run the length of the arterial. And it can also come up here too. And then let's have... That's a little bit close to the inlet though, isn't it? So let's maybe have it go that way. Let's also turn off road guideline here initially too. Cool, so we'll have this as the edge of our marina, and then we're going to draw out some, piers, essentially. So we'll do 24 meters, and then in between each pier, I'd like to leave, say, 16 meters, is that? 18 from pier to pier. Let's make sure we're doing the same thing there. Yeah, so that's 17 to 18 meters, pretty much the same there, isn't it? And then each pier is 24 meters long, so I'm happy with that. Then I want to make sure there's enough gap here as well, so let's do a marker here. And then we'll leave 28 meters between the next pier, I think. But that's going to be pretty sensible. We'll add another marker in, then we can delete that. And then again, we can repeat that measurement of 24 meters, and then we can repeat the same thing down here as well, so 18. And of course, once we have one set of road guidelines in, it's much easier then to snap to your chosen format. So we'll repeat this process for the entire length of the marina. That's going to be the initial shape of my marina. Now we'll talk about that little transition between the height. So every one of these straight pieces, I think, will bring a path straight up toward there. We don't need a pedestrian crossing every time, I wouldn't say. So let's actually remove some of those with the tool. And I guess we'll remove that one as well. And then let's maybe have another one. I guess we probably actually don't need them, do we, in hindsight? Let's just have them connecting to where we already have them. Fabulous. So we have this little dip now, don't we? So when we come into our upgrade tools, we want to grab the keys. And then on the insides of these, essentially where the water's going to fill, we just want to make sure that every pathway here is a key. And you can do this in vanilla with great duress. I'm really hoping that as part of Paradox's continual improvement of CS2 is that they add this function in to just manually assign where you want the cut and fill to take place rather than having to manipulate the terrain to force it. But maybe one day, hopefully that's part of the next upgrade. But essentially, everything on the inside of the marina here to key. So now we'll have a bunch of little marina keys like this, and then where we don't want it to happen, I think we'll just draw off a little kind of park here and make it just part of our landscape design. Come that detail in time lapse as always. Also parks to be had here, trees. So I like to get kind of a dirty texture here, just to kind of represent kind of an overgrown riverbank near the town. Might be quite cool. But either way, this does give us our marina structure. So once we have it in, let's come back into terraforming. We want quite a strong brush here, but keep it quite small as well. And then Again, obviously it has to be deep enough for our hypothetical boats, but I reckon I'll go for, what's that, 3 or 4 contour lines away from our current water line. And then we just want to push all of this in now against where we've just turned everything into a key without going beyond it. And now there we have the rough shape of our marina, which using the terrain tools from the road is like, you know, lower down than the road, which I'm super happy with. We could also even come in with Move It and then just adjust all of these nodes together to bring them further down toward the waterline if you wanted to. Depends how much you really want to play with them. Even just a few small elevations like that with Move It I think are quite worth it. I think I'll probably do that for these as well. Super. So that way now we have our marina piers right close to the water, and there's like multiple layers at play here now, isn't there? So we can now really expand our waterfront. I have also recently downloaded the very nice decals for kind of tree grates, which are super cool. So essentially gives us planters in the ground. These are on Paradox Mods editing. I will leave up the picture for us and a link to the mod if you want to go get it. It'll also be added down to our mod list as well. But essentially we get these little grates, which are super cool. So let's have one for example right there. Let's grab a tree, probably a palm, while we're working with a relatively tropical waterfront. Let's do the royal palm, I think. Obviously we want Anarchy on for this. Place the palm right in there. Then we have a proper planter for our palm tree here. That's really going to liven up our waterfront, isn't it? So let's do a few of these. If anything, it's probably easier to put this decal on a line tool fill. So let's just delete the one we did as an example, and then we'll put this in. So let's do decal. We'll use this tree grate rectangle large. Is that the one we want to use? Yeah, I think we'll go with that one. Seems nice to me. And 20 meters is probably too far apart there, so let's try 7 meters. Seems to be alright, doesn't it? And obviously we can do the same with the tree as well. Let's also turn on random rotation for the tree and make sure they're grown up. Keep it on the same 7 meter fill, and then when we draw it in, of course it's going to match up perfectly with the decals, which will give us a very nice aesthetic here. I think I'd also like to further embellish that maybe with a little bit of fencing. So let's see what beautiful fence networks we can have to board off our marina. I'm quite happy with that one. And then let's just have this up against there. And maybe we could even talk about some smaller, cuter bushes in there too. Wildflower's a little bit bold, isn't it? Something a bit more cultivated maybe, yeah. And then we'll have this on 7 meter fills in between there as well. And all of a sudden, just simple road upgrades mod and some trees, a couple of bushes and a bit of fence networking. Some really nice waterfront action available for CS2, isn't there? Really like that. Of course, we'll continue that around the park as well. And I think we'll turn this into a nice landscape park over here as well. Get some gazebos in during our time lapse, of course. That should be a lot of fun, shouldn't it? We'll have a lot of fun with that. So returning to the land now, after a little bit of time in the water, I'd love to design some nice parking designs here. So let's have a look to see if we can use some of our new parking lots that came with the update that we haven't really used yet. I have to kind of create a bit of a strip mall vibe here. So let's have our road come out first of all. Let's do this one here. Now I'm always a fan of trying to find kind of fun repeated patterns to work with. Let's have our parking lot there, which does look quite nice and actually looks like it has room for a little bit of a bush line in there. Let's throw Anarchy on. Are you gonna play a game? Maybe even 1 meter's there. It's quite nice. How about that? Yeah, love it. Immediately sold on the idea. And then makes sense of that one to carry on back through to that road. And then we'll probably reuse that parking lot we've got. Of course, you can make your own custom car packs here if you want. And place down some of the actual ploppable decals that we have on our mod list too. And then let's also have that one there as well. That's slightly overlapping, isn't it? Let's just make sure everyone's okay here. Something like that. So those car parks actually sit really nicely together, don't they? And you, oh, that is maybe slightly overlapping, is it? I think I'll actually prefer to place it manually. Something like that, I reckon. Does slightly overlap, but we can just amend that there. That's no problem. And then we'll chuck that bush line back in again too. Absolutely stunning. I might even be tempted here to change this road into alleyway. I think we actually will go with that. I think just something a bit more subtle is needed there, isn't it? And then with this one here, let's just come off at a slightly different angle. Thankfully, the built-in node controller will just allow things like that to happen. And then we'll do a little bit of oak at the end there too. Awesome. Why are we losing happiness? What's up with you? Yeah, unreliable internet service. We'll have a look at that in a second. I do want to get some internet in today. And then here, we've got pure commercial demand, so I'm more than happy to have a bunch of our favorite commercial assets in here. Let's just pick something we like. We'll probably go a mix of... We'll probably go North America, and I do tend to prefer the North American assets for commercial. Cool. So that gives us some really nice strip mall vibes there, doesn't it? I'm pretty happy with that. And then I'd certainly like to also make sure people can't park on the main road either, because I really want them to actually properly use the parking lots that we've got outside the commercial. So let's make a wide sidewalk on the other side of the road here where we don't have the grass lining. Same over here as well with the school. I want people to kind of go and park in the school rather than on the main road. Cool. So that's going to give us a really cute little strip mall there, isn't it? I'm really happy with that. That looks really cool from the water. Big fan of that. Lovely stuff. We also mentioned police station, didn't we? So let's go ahead and get that back in. There was a little bit of crime knocking about in Kokai. So we could use another small one. What's the upkeep here? It's not massive. We do get quite a bit more jail capacity though. In terms of upkeep, how are we doing? Yeah, we've not made that big of a dent in it today. There's also the urban police station, but I reckon that's probably... I don't know, let's place it down and see what we think. It's expensive, I just wasted a lot of money on that, didn't I? Yeah, I do need to let the game play. I'm spending all of my money. However, what we can do while the game does play is to check out some telecoms here. So the radio mast has a range of 1 kilometer, is that it? It's really small, isn't it? Of course, terrain does affect them. But even up here on the hill, it's not affecting anyone down there, is it? So the telecom tower might be the better option here. So why don't we spend a development point on it? Let's grab our telecom tower. Now, it's not an enormous difference in upkeep, is it? It is actually, it's more than double, really. But we're getting more than double the range and the network capacity, too. If we were to place this here, this covers a lot of land, isn't it? We've got all this space over here. And it's going to pretty much cover this entire coastline, so we'll definitely bring that in. To actually get that up there, I would like a little access road that winds up the mountain where we can create a little bit of a telecom facility here. So let's have a look at the topography, and we will channel our inner Phillip and see if we can respect it. I do like a winding mountain road. Where's most appropriate? Maybe off of the road over here. How about over this way? Let's bring this up and just find a hopefully somewhat natural way to follow the gradient up here. Want to make sure we turn off Anarchy as well, otherwise there will be trees in the road. Cool, and then we'll take the highest natural point in the mountain, which is pretty much this one, isn't it? Where we have a nice bit of workable space. And then let's just make a little bit of a platform. I don't think that's too horrendous. There's no kind of illegal gradients there, I don't think, is there? Just a nice little mountain road. Where we will arrive at that telecom facility. We are very nearly there. I'm really reluctant to take a loan. I just need to get into the habit of letting the game play and not placing assets just to test them. Would you look at that? Someone's making love in the store. What? Where's the police? What the hell's going on? What are you guys doing? Why is there so much love coming out of there? Clearly there's something of an aphrodisiac in the fries here, isn't there? There's a lot of people waiting to get in as well. What the hell is going on in that shop? Not sure. Maybe there's a reason there's so much crime in the city. Everyone in Kokai is a bit of an exhibitionist, I'm afraid. But whatever floats your boat, I'm not one to judge. So we can very nearly afford that now. We're up to 10k upkeep. I wouldn't mind also doubling up the strip mall vibes over here as well. Can we possibly find a little bit of room to bring a road through? I reckon we can, can't we? If anything, we can just delete an asset, and then we'll save a little bit of room just for some trees to come through. And then I wouldn't mind just extending a bit of an alleyway road through here to join it with that way. And then we could probably place some more commercial around here as well. Again, which will be plopped just so we have much more control over what actually grows in here. There's going to be a lot of texture work to do around here today during our time lapse too. Move everyone up a little bit there. Plus that fries store is insanely popular, isn't it? You guys alright? What's wrong with these people? You're homeless. Everyone is homeless. Yeah, that's probably indicative of our screaming residential demand. So I wouldn't mind letting a couple of apartments actually zone up here. So let's grab some medium density. And maybe around here on these street corners we can start to let some apartments grow. With apartments, I'm not totally against letting some of them zone in. And how about maybe some nicer ones down by the waterfront here? Might be pretty cool, right? Let's extend an alleyway road down, and then we'll see what grows in, but we might end up refining during Plop The Growables. So I'm going to go for North American apartments here. Cool. We got some apartments on the waterfront. That should be quite nice. And then probably down here as well, actually around the back of the strip malls, I wouldn't mind letting some other buildings zone in here. How about some low rent? So we could work in some little low rent towers here as well, just to try and make a little bit of a dent in the housing problem. Again, just because these can be so big and bold, I'd much rather pick and choose what assets actually grow here. So just search for rent in your FindIt bar, and you'll get all these coming up. And the bigger they are, the much more dominant they tend to be. So smaller size is much more what I'm leaning into here. And let's also get some sports parks around here as well. Wouldn't mind having some of the new ones knocking around, maybe large playground, couple of basketball courts in there as well. And we'll bring some trees in as well just to help fill some of this space between. Lots of pathways to be had around here too. Extended textures during the design time lapse, which I feel we're not too far away from right now. So with the lower rent, smaller apartments, you have to deal with the noise of a waterfront, but I think I'm quite happy with them there. So now we have enough money to afford our telecoms tower. Let's go ahead and place it in. This should make everyone tremendously happy. Let's go for about there. And there we go. That gives us significant range with the Wi-Fi now, doesn't it? Pretty much covers this whole kind of western flank of the island, doesn't it? We probably only need 3 or 4 of these across the whole island eventually to give total internet coverage. And then around here, we'll definitely do some texture work. And I also wouldn't mind putting in a industrial unit as well. Now, where is our air direction flowing? directly over the town. Of course it is. Where else would it go when I need to place a little building? So like nothing serious. I'm just really talking about a little maintenance shed maybe, and maybe a slightly larger building, just something to embellish the telecoms tower with. Probably just those two. Of course, you guys won't have power up here, or is that our power again has gone, hasn't it? So again, our wind turbines are overloaded. Can we upgrade you again? And we can do a rotor system to significantly upgrade power output. Does that help us? Where does that send us into? Back into the green. We are squeezing every single ounce of power out of these two turbines, but I think that's going to be the threshold for both of them, isn't it? We could give them a battery, but I think at that point we just need another turbine, don't we? Which is fine. I'd rather wait as long as possible before getting in a proper power plant because they're expensive in Economy 2.0. We will use the wind as long as we can. And then with the base of the hill here, I think we're just going to have a little bit of commercial knocking around. Just a nice big commercial strip down this way. And that should be good. We're going to have to wait quite a while to get another police station in. Even the small one's 100 grand. But whilst that does happen, let's do some detailing. I've got a lot of surface and decal work to do around here. I'm going to do a nice park space along this bit of the marina as well. And maybe some pathways, more residential expansion around here where we have more frames to play with. Keep those demands coming in and try and reduce some of the homeless stood outside of the prize store. We'll see if we can fix it. And some detailing around our low rent houses over here as well. And refinement with Plop The Growables where needed, because I think I much prefer the European than those American ones. But either way, let's detail up Sully's town centre and marina, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a detailing review, shall we? So first of all, how great does the telecom tower look on top of the hill here? A real landmark for the town of Sully, isn't it? It's a big fan of that. Furthermore, as we come into the town now, we have one of the new parks outside of the school, which has been blended in with grass texture all the way down, with paths and trees. Another car park outside of the school as well, alongside more tree work where it was needed, of course. Toward the river over here, we have added in a invisible walking pathway, so people would essentially take a desire line, right, rather than kind of a proper landscape pathway. It's just a bit of a well-trodden path along the river and the tree line, where we have also brought in more of those textures as well. And then there's cuts through here, where you can see people walking, which is just so cool for realism, isn't it? Just absolutely love that. Really, really nice. A couple of apartments added in here as well, lots of trees and paths around our low-rent housing estate. Right before we do come around the bend to some European apartments on the waterfront, and really love the small town waterfront vibe we've created today. You know, not this kind of massive sort of touristic beach, it's just a very sort of cute, tasteful local marina that's just been really nicely put together. I'm a big fan of these sort of mock marina keys, if you like. They're super cool, and you can put them in so many different kind of shapes and configurations as well. Over toward our strip mall, there is another design line through here as well, where you can see someone taking advantage of that to cut back through to the housing over there. There is quite a big problem with the homeless bug in Kokai at the moment. You can see they're all still stood outside of the fry stop. These guys are all homeless, and there's a few over around the school as well, which is a bit annoying. And then more parking through this way as well, just to keep this big commercial block all together. Very nice. Really like how the town centre developed today. I did realise we said we wanted buses at the start of today's episode, but I think we'll build a bus terminal over by the highway so we can accept intercity buses a little bit easier as well. So we'll probably have a look at that next episode maybe, as we start to build around the other side of the mountain. And then over here we have an expanded police station, which looks really cute. Dropped in some police car props, and then one of the other police stations here. And then blended it all together with some fencing, a little bit of hedge work, and some texture expansion. Just so it looks like we have police cars stored here ready to go out on patrol. And that sits really nicely on the corner, doesn't it? Same thing as well with the gas station. Just painted out the texture here so it really fills that corner, which makes a massive difference if we're actually working with corner assets in CS, doesn't it? Big fan of that. And then this road winds down here now, where we have some more stuff on the park. Got a little section of rocks here to function as a bit of a breakwater, and then a little bit of commercial as the town trails off down the arterial. It's likely we'll carry on building up here, but we'll do this in future episodes. A little bit awkward terrain right up against the foot of the mountain, but regardless, it'll still be quite nice. And then just some simple pergolas over the pathways here. A couple of benches, just general open green space for the residents to enjoy. Also drew out another little path here, just as a little bit of a mock pier, isn't it? Just to enjoy a bit of an ocean breeze, etc. And just enjoy the views back up to the town there too. I really like how all those palms line the waterfront there. It's a great little spot, that, isn't it? And then more classic park detailing over here with the gazebos, food carts, and a line of benches along that waterfront, so people can enjoy watching those big cargo ships move past. Perfect timing to actually see that. Awesome. So they do have actually views of the shipping lanes from here as well, which is nice. Hopefully it's not too long till we get some actual kind of small boat props, and then we can make these marinas seem quite a bit more alive. So this is all down here. And then lastly but not least, we head up to the top of our telecom facility, which does have a really nice view over the town of Sully from here, doesn't it? Super cute. Really like how all that turned out. Then down here, we've just expanded the textures that come with the industrial assets and brought in more props, crates, super shipping containers, a bit of parking over here as well, alongside some security booths, for getting into what you imagine would be a facility not open to the public. And then same thing over here again as well, just general industrial prop work to help bring the area to life, and that is giving everyone extreme happiness because they have insane Wi-Fi range. And you may also notice we have a third turbine in now, just due to ongoing power demands, of course. But otherwise, that is it for our small town waterfront build. Really enjoyed how this came out today. Massive shout out to all the patrons supporting the channel, with a special roll call to Louis Adlam. If you want to get involved in early access, exclusive Patreon podcasts, and a cute little community, check out the Patreon. alongside the instant gaming link as well. You can get yourself a great deal and help support the channel at the same time. Really enjoying this slow, detailed approach to CS2, really finding our feet now with all the different things that these mods can do for us just to help us create a much more personalized city space. I'm really enjoying it, and I hope you guys are as well, for those following along. Otherwise, I'll shut up and leave it there. Let's thank you all so much indeed for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.